Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. This week we have Sandy Snelling who will lead us in meditation, and then we have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we're going to open it up for sharing, and we end at 10:45. Over to you, Sandy.
Thank you, Dan. Morning, everyone. It's lovely to be with you all again this morning. So I was asking what I need to do for today, what needs to be heard. And a particular line of the course kept coming up to me. And when something repeats itself, I know I've really got to take notice. If it's 3 times or more, it's the universe, it's God telling me I need to look at it, pay attention, and go a bit deeper. And I always call this signposts of the divine or whispers of the divine. And what's been whispered to me is, I need do nothing. So I need do nothing. Such beautiful words, very simple words, but contain so much. And when I looked it up in the course itself, it's in the text, and it's only 2 pages long. And yet it contains so much. It's really beautiful. So in this world, which the course calls the dream world, we are often distracted by the ego by doing. It's a doing thing. It's always distracting us by keeping us away from truth, by achieving, by doing. Pleasure, pain, by doing. We're always up to something. It's keeping us fixated on our bodies and the past and the future. It's never really keeping us in the present moment. And yet the course tells us, and I'll quote it, at no single instant does the body exist at all. So we know we're spirit, we know we're actual mind, we're not the body, yet the ego likes to use that to distract us all the time. Then when we realize that, we often move on to the next level, where we then are distracted in a different way under the guise of bettering ourselves or becoming a spiritual seeker. And so this is quite a great one, because for quite a while we think we're doing the right thing. Actually, and we're not. It's just another way of busying us in a different sort of way. The ego tells us that we need to be perfect, we need to be holier, and that this can only be obtained by doing or withdrawing from the world and withdrawing from others and temptations, all sorts of things like that. But this isn't really what it's about. All these two, whether you're looking at the world and the ego busying it, or we're looking at being a spiritual seeker, these are all things that we do for our own needs. They're quite selfish needs, rather than actually being out in the world. So it makes us become separate when the answer is always in joining. And the real biggie is we are already what we seek. So, we are already that perfect, holy child of God, but the ego keeps telling us that we're not that holy and we're not that perfect and we're not that pure. So I need do nothing is really beautiful. When I feel that and I listen to that, I feel myself relax. I feel the peace that comes from that. And, I need do nothing is because God made me in his image and he's given me everything. So there's no need to worry about things. There's no need to be frantically going about trying to fix things. It's about just being and being still. And when we're willing to take a moment to release the doing and to remember I need do nothing, it can move us into that holy instant. And it releases the past and the future, and you become present with what is. And there is nothing missing. It dissolves all barriers. You know that you are love, and you know you are limitless. So, I mean, how wonderful is that? There's no enormous effort is needed. It's just that settling into I need do nothing. And I love that when we do that, I need do nothing, it returns us to our true self, and it takes us to that nice quiet center. And when we're in that quiet center, we can still be in all the busyness of the world around us, but we can hear or feel or know what we're meant to do. We can get that guidance, and we can then move into, you know, whatever we need to do that day, or go wherever we need to go, or say whatever we need to do. So it's joining us rather than separation, and it's not using the body as a barrier anymore to God. It's using it as an instrument for God instead, you know, so that we can move through our day. And I just think, you know, that allows the Holy Spirit to then come into us as well, and then we hear much more clearly. And when I'm talking about hearing, I'm not necessarily talking about with physical ears. Most people that we talk to, and a lot of us are chatting with other course students, it comes in a knowing, or a different way. You just know. So we're really listening with the heart. And I just think that's so, so beautiful. And of course, that means our minds and our bodies serve everyone. So it's quite different from the other two, in that we are actually serving the whole, rather than this selfish thing of, I need to improve me, I need to be better than that person, or just busying ourselves in the world. So I think it's a really, really powerful sentence, affirmation, quote, whatever you want to call it. And I want to use that in the meditation today. So what I'm going to do is read a part of this text from the course that's on this subject. It's from the Passing of the Dream, and it's in section 7, I Need Do Nothing. And I'm going to read that to you 3 times, and I'm going to get quieter as I'm doing it. And then we'll move into 20 minutes silence, and just allow you to really settle into, I need do nothing. And then when it's 20 minutes is up, I'll talk you round, and there's no rush to come out of it. So please just take your time. It's really important that you feel completely back here when you're ready to. Okay, so let's use this lovely time together to really get moving into our meditation. So if you want to get yourselves comfortable, if you feel comfortable as well, close your eyes. And we'll just take a few deep breaths together. So just breathing in and letting go. Just really allowing yourself to arrive here. Breathing in and letting go. One more. Breathing in and letting go. To do nothing is to rest and make a place within us where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. Into this place, Holy Spirit comes and there abides. He will remain when you forget, and the body's activities return to occupy your conscious mind. To do nothing is to rest and make a place within you where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. Into this place, Holy Spirit comes and there abides. He will remain when you forget, and the body's activities return to occupy your conscious mind. To do nothing is to rest and make a place within you where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. Into this place, Holy Spirit comes and there abides. He will remain when you forget, and the body's activities return to occupy your conscious mind. I need do nothing. But just gently bring yourself back into the room. Bring yourself fully present, no rush. And only when you're ready, open your eyes.
We have 15 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand, or you can use the electronic hand at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to say something with confidentiality, put it in the chat function at the bottom of the screen and I'll read it out. Who'd like to share? Norman, take yourself off mute.
Thank you very much indeed, Sandy. It was just what the doctor ordered us to say again. I'm in a lovely place again. And just before the meditation ended, I wrote down, do not make nothingness real. And, as we said, it's being aware that we are spirit, and in this world, being aware that everyone else is the same, and being aware that God is pure love. I had a tendency to ask for something and think maybe that's too much, maybe this is too much, maybe I'm asking for the wrong thing. And the whole trouble with that is I was still I still didn't trust God, still didn't love him enough. And the answer is I wasn't asking for enough, I was asking for far too little. Instead of asking for everything, I was just asking for rubbish. And I was making nothingness real. And that's why I have to do absolutely nothing and just ask with my mind and treat God as my best mate, and just love him to bits. And if I want to rest, just rest on the shoulder and lose all your fear altogether. And then you don't have to do anything, absolutely nothing. I used to overthink things, something desperate, in order to try and get the solution. What if I do this? What if I do that? And all that does is just show a total lack of trust in God, thinking I could do it myself. So thank you very, very much indeed.
You're welcome, Norman. And you're right, it is, when we're in the ego mind, it's all full of fear and guilt, it's all what ifs and buts and everything. But the thing with the course, and especially with this particular lesson, is it's teaching us to just be guided and know that we are meant to be in this world at the moment, while we're still doing things, we're learning stuff, but we're meant to be bringing that love into the world and joining with everyone, and in that way, as you say, you just know it's no worries, there's no mind stuff going over and over and over again and coming up with so many different scenarios. It's just a deep knowing that's my part, that's what I need to do, or that's what's going to happen today. It just is really beautiful. So I'm glad you found that wonderful.
Who'd like to share? Teresa, take yourself off mute.
Thank you, Sandy. That was lovely. So I love the expansiveness. I think you said there, limitlessness. And this morning, with my sister's husband, is ready to leave his body maybe today, soon. And it's very easy to think of all the negative things related to, like all the pain and stuff like that. And he has been in that state, you know, he's been pulling tubes out and stuff. But but he's quite, I've just had a phone call with my sister. He is quite peaceful at the moment. And in my, we both, Dan and myself, prayed this morning, and in that, while I was staying in the body and thinking of my brother-in-law as this body, it was just staying in the sadness of everything. But when I remembered, actually, he was very fond of me, and he is full of light, and that's everything. That is the truth of who he is, and that bit is going to continue, and everything else is falling down, and I don't need to do anything. I don't need to rush or do anything, and so I felt very peaceful about it. And he's in a much better, he's not in pain anymore, so he's in a much more peaceful state. So thank you for listening. It was a lovely meditation, and this idea of you know, how when we're in the ego, how everything is about being separate and different and special, and but really it's about, in our right mind, in our God mind, it's about joining. And that's how I felt when I thought about him this morning in prayer. I felt that, and during the meditation, that we were joined. He wasn't separate and alone. We were joined. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Teresa. And you know, I'm a soul midwife, so I you know, have been trained to work with people at the end of life, and it's the body gets very heavy. That's look agitated, but it's actually a normal process of leaving, you know, beginning to prepare to leave the body, because it gets so heavy. And you know, we've got to remember as well that death is just a passage, and that love only changes form, you know. So when we can remember that, yes, it's going to be sad because we're human and we've got a relationship on a human level, but that connection is always there on spirit, as you say, and that will remain. So, you know, when you can see that light, it's really beautiful. So I'm pleased you got so much from it too. Thank you.
Who'd like to share? Evelyn, take yourself off mute.
Thank you, Sandy. That was just lovely. Just it always is, of course, the message that we get from the course. Every line really takes us straight home, straight back to home again, and we think, goodness, how could I ever forget? But for myself, yeah, there's a lot of forgetting. But by the grace of God, so much beautiful ones to remind me that, as you know, as the teaching today is, I need do nothing, and you just think about it, and it really blows my mind, which isn't a bad thing. And it's just a beautiful blessing. And thank you so much to the Miracle Network. Bless you for this lovely offering. So thank you, Sandy. That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And this is it. It's you know, the course is really getting us to keep practicing, and the more that we practice, you know, that it becomes more and more that we pick ourselves up quicker when we're actually lost ourselves again, and we've gone into the ego mind or into fear and guilt and all those other connotations that come when we're living from fear. And so I love that the course is always gently, and it is gently. It's never harsh words. It's always so gentle, just reminding us, you know, of all the bits that we need to keep doing to train our mind. You know, this is a course in mind training, and I do find you get deeper in with it. But also sometimes as you get a bit closer to that, then the ego can really ramp up sometimes. So we can then think we're not actually progressing very well, and all that rubbish come again, where the guilt and the ego will tell us all the things that we're bad at, we should have been by now, but it's not. It's just gently come back to the sense. Whatever phrases from the course help you to connect to your heart, to love and to God, is beautiful. And for me, this last few weeks working with this one has just, every time I come to it, it's a relief. Like, yeah, I don't need to be doing all this stuff. How wonderful. And that actually it's in collaboration, it's a recognizing and trusting, like you're saying, Norman, it's trusting in God. When we go and do things on our own, we're not trusting. So I do think, any line that you find that just helps you is just a beautiful prompt, and Jesus always does it with gentleness, which is beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sandy. And something advice comes more and more to me now is when I get in a pickle about things, and is just to ask myself, which guide are you following? And that very quickly helps me to come back, come home, as it were, to the truth of who we are. So, but thank you, bless you.
Thank you. That's lovely.
Who'd like to share? Dan, take yourself off mute.
Sandy, just two things that you spoke earlier about ending of life. Straight came to mind was Richard Bach. What the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls a butterfly. And the other thing is, I don't know where you can see this on my coffee
I
cup.
love it. Holy child.
Holy child of God. Thank you.
Beautiful. In you. I love that. Yes, this is it. We're very bad at but then our society has, made death sort of something quite terrible and everything, rather than seeing it as a transition. I think the Buddhists are better with that, but it's learning to go with all the sides of who we are, feeling our emotions, but then also realizing this is a joyous thing. They're free, they're no longer in a body, and they can actually probably do more help being just completely in spirit. So thank you.
Who'd like to
I
share?
once had a couple of out-of-body experiences, and one time I was floating up at the ceiling, and then I had to go back into my body. It was beautiful. Up in the ceiling, wonderful. And I was looking down at myself, and I thought, I'm enjoying this. And I thought, oh, hell, I'm back in the body again. I wanted to stay there.
I've had the same issue where I've been that I'm seeing everything from above, and it's lovely, and it is quite weird when you have to come back. It's like, no, I don't really want to be. But yeah, we've obviously still got things to do, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd like to share? I'll jump in. I thank you, Sandy. That was a beautiful introduction to the meditation. I really got a lot out of it. And Teresa and I have been we practice looking at our blocks every day. We just say, "Have you had any blocks today?" And any fears or judgments, and give them the Holy Spirit for healing, and they vanish. And we've been doing that for quite a while, and it seems like it doesn't happen very much anymore. But what I have been noticing is that my mind gets very busy. It's I'm thinking about all these things I have to do. It's jumping from one thing to the next, and I don't feel, I don't feel, doesn't feel right, And so what I've started to do is to just when I notice that busyness, just to stop breathe deep, and then peace comes again, and which I have to do quite a bit because my mind's quite a busy mind. So yeah, that's me. Thanks.
And this time of year as well, it ever gets busier when actually, if you watch nature, it's getting slower and being quiet. So we're doing exactly opposite to what we should be doing. So it's really, really important that we take these moments to slow down, to just breathe, to find whatever thing we need, as from the Course quote, that will just bring us back to our quiet mind, and then we'll have a much better time of it. So thank you.
Okay, we've come to the end of our time together. Thank you, Sandy. That was wonderful, and you're an angel. Take yourself
Yeah.
off mute and show your appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Sandy.
Thanks,
Sandy.
Sandy.
Thank
Thank you
Love
very
you.
much.
Thank
Thanks, Angel.
you.
Thank you.